All right, and here is the MP-M04 Masterpiece Optimus Prime, movie masterpiece Optimus Prime. And he's a nice looking figure. His robot mode is fantastic. And we'll get to that. First, we got to deal with truck mode, which is less so. I don't have a huge issue with it. I mean, like, I've been kind of complaining on Twitter today about, what about this? But, like, I really, like, he's very frustrating to get to tab together. And even when you do, there's still some issues with it. Here's the weapon, and I'm not going to leave this on. This is just a way to store the weapons in robot or in vehicle mode, and they store the same way in robot mode. You can take these and plug them into this same piece on his back, so he can kind of haul these around as a backpack, which is efficient. But I may either just leave him with the gun and throw the swords in the box, or just throw all the weapons in the box because, like, they're neat, but they're unwieldy if you don't actually have them using them in either mode. Actually, he doesn't really use them in vehicle mode, but in robot mode. But yeah, there's the weapons, and the swords are just kind of tabbed onto the side here. We'll deal with this piece more later. But I wanted to show them off with it on there. Now, the truck mode, like I said, it's a very nice-looking truck mode. It's shiny, it's cool, the pinstriping around the flames and stuff. Very pretty looking. I did find out about these pipes that are supposed to come out and kind of help fill in this hole right through the truck. You can see, hey there, how you doing? A hole right through the truck. Everybody's complaining about the gap up here, and I'm like, but and I've tried there's a gap up here. I've tried all of the non-destructive or non-modification fixes for it, and to no avail. It doesn't bother me that much because, like, if you look at this, if you get right up close and be like, oh, it doesn't match up. Like, it's kind of annoying, and like this little gap right here, I mean, this piece right here not matching up is a little bit more annoying than the actual windshield gap, and you can kind of mitigate that. You kind of have to mush it together a little bit, but you can, it's not going to stay there. But just looking at the truck, it's not a horrible looking truck mode. It's not perfect if you get up close on some of these things like this gap or this gap, but even still, like, for as little time as he's probably going to spend in truck mode on my shelf, it's a pretty impressive truck mode. Like I said, not perfect by any means. I do wish this sat a little more flush. I do wish these pipes connected a little better. I've tried. They just don't want to come out enough to really tab together. And I don't want that to sound like I'm coming down the whole figure. It has its problems, especially in vehicle mode. But like I said, aside from either an actual fix at the factory or going in and hard modding this, I don't know that you're ever going to get a real fix for this gap. But from a lot of angles, it's not super noticeable. You know, like if you get right up front and stare down it, you can see it. But I'm like right there, and from even a little higher up where I am, you don't even really see that there's a gap there. So anyway, not trying to be an apologist for it. It does have some flaws. Like this, you can see this little tab's coming loose. Getting this, the wheels up here like to pop out from both this tab and this tab, and getting it all together can be an exercise in frustration. Please do not do not misunderstand me on that. But I find that, like, for the hassle of getting it into truck mode, it's not really a horrible truck mode, even with some of the flaws that it's known to possess. I do wish this thing sat a little flatter. If I push it up any further than that, you can see it starts to pop out of this thing. That may just be mine. Mine may just be a little bit of a lemon. Again, less of an issue considering how little time he's probably going to spend in vehicle mode, because his robot mode is gorgeous, and we'll get to that. But yeah, there he is in truck mode. Minor problems aside, he rolls okay, just fine. And you can see just by looking at his legs, he does share a lot of gimmicks that they pulled out for the original Revenge of the Fallen leader, which I do not have, so don't get your hopes up for any serious size comparisons with other movie Optimuses, because right now this is the only one I own outside of Voyagers. Maybe I'll go grab the Evasion Mode Prime. But yeah, here he is. Now transform him, and again, you're going to see a lot of stuff. There's really no, you can start kind of wherever. But we'll go ahead and collapse these smokestacks down. Just push them on down there into that. I like to go ahead and get these pieces flipped up because they can be a pain when you've got all the arms and the head and everything around here. And the first time you do this, like, you've got to lift it up here, and then it does actually rotate at this hinge up here, and it can be very difficult, again, especially when you're trying to reach through it. So it kind of helps to kind of push up on that lower hinge while rotating the whole piece forward, and that will angle it up like that. Try to give him angry truck, but I find that if you do that now, it's a lot easier to do it now when you've got access to the whole area around it versus when it's in robot mode. So there's that. Go ahead and untab the wheel covers. There's a little peg here that tabs in to a slot right here on the leg. Same over here. Go ahead and get those off to the side. Go ahead and untab this piece right here from there. Open it up. Same over here. You can see that foot has already come untabbed. So you can go ahead and do that. It untabs up here at the front. And you want to be careful because there is a silver tab that goes up into the red piece. So make sure when you untab it from the front, you kind of pull it down as well. And that will free up the legs. Untab the front grille from this. And now you're going to start seeing a lot of very familiar bits from the Revenge of the Fallen leader here. So we'll go ahead and slide these pieces out and fold these pipes into here for all the good they did in vehicle mode. Open up this blue panel on the side of the leg. And just like untab it from here and rotate the wheel down like that. And then collapse this whole thing up into the leg itself. And then fold this blue panel back up around the outside. You'll see the little silver piece kind of fits in a groove up there. Same over here. Bring this down and up and in. Snap it into place. Bring the wheel down. Close up that panel. Split the whole front end. And then open up the toes. Fold the grill up. They still have the grill as the bottom of the feet, which is, with that silver paint, is always, I've already got a little couple scuffs. Always a little bit of a rough idea, but hey, you know, that's how it works. Then fold the foot up. Sure to fold it all the way back so that this clip right here clips into the lower gray piece. Same on this side. Let's go ahead and open up the foot. Fold this up. Clip it in. Untab this piece right here. And actually, we're going to untab this black piece from back here. Just kind of pull the hips down, and that'll give you the freedom to rotate them down. And then you're pretty much done with the whole lower half of the body. You can angle these kneecaps out, although we'll do that more in robot mode. These pieces right here, actually, if you push on the top, do pop out a little bit, just to give him a little bit more width to his legs. It doesn't seem like much, but it actually does visually affect the figure when he's all done. And you can also pull out these blue panels on the back. You can swivel out a little bit to fill out the back part of the leg. Again, not much, but you can do it. For that, we're just going to leave that alone for now. So bring this up, and we're going to work on the top half now. Bring this up, go ahead and kind of just get these out of the way, however you need to. Go ahead and pop this whole assembly, like the outer flames on the front and the inner flames right in front of the windshield. This whole assembly pops up. You can see there's his head and everything. And here are the arms, which we'll go ahead and unpeg from each other. Little gnat, go away. Bring them up like this. Here's his matrix chamber, which needs to fold up past this. And again, that's another place where there's some paint, and you really have to snap this past it, that I worry about paint rub. And this will fold up into his abdomen. This does open up, and it does have a little die-cast matrix in there. I'm gonna show the matrix off here now. I'll open it up again in robot mode, but just it's a little messed up because the grooves on either side to tab it into this chest piece, but or abdomen piece, I guess, is really more accurate. But you can put that in there. And then you fold that up into there. Open up these like this, and this panel the smokestack flips up and around like that. And then these back panels fold in. And these are going to fold around and under like that to be on either side of his head here in robot mode. Go ahead and fold these panels out to the side. And that will allow us to bring this whole panel down and snap it into place here. Like that, and then this die-cast panel right here folds up and is going to peg in right up here to hold his whole tummy together. If we can get this folded up right. There we go. There we go. Now it's all locked together. Again, these panels, one of the first things to move in robot mode, you just want to kind of keep getting them out of the way. And once all this is folded up properly, you can fold this back down. There's a double hinge here, so you need to make sure that it folds enough for these to come together without... is that? It should be right. I don't know why this is giving me such a hard time. Maybe these just come down to the side like this. I don't know. Oh yeah, there we go. Wait, is that still not right? Because the arms come up, you got to fold out these. No, these are supposed to fold on under here. Why are you being such a pain in my patoot there, buddy? Hold on a second. Okay, I was right. I was doing this semi-correctly. You got to fold these in half this way and then fold them down like that. And then they'll come around and cover this part, and that will allow everything to sit flush. And then the arms, you open up, bring up this little shoulder piece right here, fold it up, and snap that together up here. Actually, you actually need to wait on the arms. Hold on, let me get him standing here, and then we'll move up to the upper body and get all that done. Make this a little easier so he's not flopping around all over the place. Here we go. So bring these out. The window, these stay off to the side here, collapsed. Untab this from up here, and these two pieces split out like that. And then you fold these down on either side of his chest. Go ahead and get his doors open a little bit to allow that to sit down. So bring those down. And then these pieces, you can fold the lights back a little bit, fold up under here. You got to get them around the door, but collapse up like this into the body, which is pretty impressive. With the door, collapse up like that, and then tab in here and here. Bring the doors forward. These are going to flop around for a minute while we get all this stuff. And then you bring up these shoulder pieces, and that should lock everything together. You can see there's a tab here that's going to click the arm on like that. And same over here. Come around to the back. These panels rotate up, and there's a tab in here that tabs in to the slot right here. You can see this tab right here inside the panel. Comes up here and tabs on. Comes up here and tabs on like that. And then these pieces you just kind of fold up and around the middle of the tank here. Get that on. Do the same on this side. Nope, like that. Tab that in. Tab that in. We're getting there. Get the smokestacks down. The shoulder pieces, untab here and come up around the shoulder, and then the tank rotates up to the top like that. Same over here. And then these pieces rotate around, and then you push them down, collapse them in. There's a little tab on here that will lock it in place if you get it at the right angle. So just tab that out, yeah, slide the arm out like that, rotate this around, and then push it in to lock it. Come on, tab, stay together. Oh, maybe I just went around the wrong way. There we go. That was my problem. And there he is in robot mode. You can angle these up, and you can even snap these wheels down and in tighter against his leg if you want. Here's the kneecaps I said we could pop out later. Okay, can I get him all the way in camera? In frame. There we go. I think we did it. But yeah, there he is. He's a really cool looking robot. And like I said, I do not have any version of the leader class mold anymore. Like I got rid of all of them a long time ago. But just to show you off some comparisons, here he is with the Voyager's Last Night Voyager and the Evasion Mode Voyager from Age of Extinction. Here he is with MP-10. He's actually a little taller than MP-10. And here he is with, they look really great together, I really have to say. And here he is with Masterpiece Bumblebee. So those two just look stunning together on a shelf. He does have the face swap gimmick where you can lift up. Here he is, you can see with his face plated head. See if we can zoom in on that a little bit. You can lift it up and rotate this piece around, fold it back down, and there he is with a mouth plate head. Or with not a mouth plate, a mouthed head. Personally, I prefer the faceplate, but it is kind of a cool little gimmick that they managed to work that in there. Just such an easy little flip around. Oh, come on. So yeah, very cool. Posability, like I said, his head side to side and up and down, independent of that face gimmick. He's got ratcheting front to back arms. Here he's got a bicep swivel. He's got over 90-degree articulation in the arms, wrist swivel. He does have articulated fingers. He's very much like all the others, and like the last three are bent in one single piece. His index finger is separate with a bend in it. And then the thumb only bends up and down. It doesn't articulate other than that, which is a bit of a shame, but I can kind of see why they did it, because it would be a very small joint there and very prone to breakage. He does have waist swivel, which is nice. Some of the stuff, the wheels you got to bring down, they'll get in the way a little bit, but you can swivel his waist, hips. You see the ratchet there. Thigh swivels. Again, get the kneecap out of the way of that wheel. Dual hinge knees for a lot of decent articulation there, and plenty of articulation front to back and side to side in the ankle. So yeah, very posable and cool prime. I mentioned the weapons pack earlier. That, again, plugs on unwieldily in both modes. If you want to store it in robot mode, here it is. And like I said before, it plugs into the same tab it plugged into in vehicle mode, only this time it sits up like a backpack. And it does hide pretty well. If you just want to store... Oh, okay. I found a flaw. I found a flaw. But yeah, so it stores on his back, if you wish. And then he can hold the hands actually fold in a little bit like that because the slot is behind the wrist. But you can take the weapons, and they are angled to one side with the blade down, so make sure you're attaching to the right side. But you can put the fist back out a little bit. But you can attach the arm blades to either arm. You can dual wield those if you wish. Kick some Deceptibutt. And he can hold his gun in his hand. Again, either hand. You just got to be careful with that thumb. And you want to make sure the fingers are not all the way extended, or they won't fit around his... they won't fit through the gun. They'll end up pointing straight out. But you just kind of push that little tab into the middle of his palm. That, and then you can close the fingers around the gun, hold his thumb down, and he can hold his gun in his hand as well. Is it worth the price? I think so. The robot mode is super detailed, very articulated, about as extraneous bit-free as you're going to get from a design based off of this Optimus Prime. Just, I mean, like, you can see just how flat that backpack is. And it's a little squarish. It's a little bulkier than maybe it should be if you're comparing to the movies, but they improved a lot from the Revenge of the Fallen Leader mold. Now, the truck mode is a different story. If you're buying it for the vehicle mode, stop and consider before you spend the money. Because, like I said, I honestly don't have a huge issue with it. For everything that this accomplishes, a slightly flawed truck mode, I'm willing to forgive. I realize it's a masterpiece, and I realize that you can argue over the use of that term when it comes to the truck mode. But it is, despite its flaws, it is still a nice-looking truck mode, I feel, if you're not looking like super close at it. And considering the fun of getting to robot mode and having such an excellent final product here in the robot mode, I'm willing to let that slide. But do be aware the truck has problems. I'm not trying to gloss them over. But I'm willing to forgive the flaws for such a great-looking robot mode, especially with a Bumblebee on the shelf. But there he is, MP-M04, Masterpiece Movie Optimus Prime.